I'll be preaching out of the book of Judges, Judges 1 and 2. This book records the history of the nation of Israel. For 305 years after the death of Joshua, Israel declined, backslid, and got away from God. And in this new study, we will see many frightening parallels between Israel and America. Israel was established by God Himself and gave Himself to them. He also gave them the law, the 10 Commandments, and the covenant. And He gave them Canaan, the best land of the earth at that time. And so God gave them the Lord, the law, and the land. God only asked them for one thing in return, that they would love Him, obey Him, and serve Him. What did Israel do? They denied the Lord. They defied the law, and they defiled the land. So God had to judge them. The parallel with America is obvious and alarming. No nation has ever had a Christian beginning like the USA. We too have been given the Lord, the law, and the land. We've denied Him, defied Him, and our land is being defiled. The Lord is slowly but steadily being expelled from every public venue. It started in the public schools and has spread to public places, courthouses, our coins, our Pledge of Allegiance, and on, to the point where today we are fighting battles about what we can even say in the church.
Amen.
It's no longer just about the separation of church and state, but rather the separation of America from God. God, who had founded her and has so blessed her. This last week, a high school football team and its cheerleaders came under fire. The players and cheerleaders were all in agreement. They all wanted the team to enter the field, busting through a large paper banner with an inspirational Bible verse on it. It wasn't school sanctioned, and no one involved had any problem with it. But guess who did have a problem? The ACLU. For those of you who have pen and paper, I want you to write them 4 letters down and remember that. The American Civil Liberties Union. You actually called them the Anti-Christian Liberals Union. Actually, I don't know why they aren't called the UUUU. For the un-American, uncivil, and unlibertarian. The ACLU has been used by Satan as a tool for many years, tearing apart the God-woven fabric of our country. America has denied the Lord. America has defied the law. The Supreme Court says that it is against the law to display the 10 Commandments in a public place. Though they're building displays them, reasoning that if you display them, people might ponder them. And if so, they might obey them. And that would be a violation of the separation of church and state. We are doing just what Israel did. It is now the official position of our government that the 10 Commandments are dangerous. Wouldn't want kids in schools to see "Thou shalt not kill," because what if they obeyed it? What if they obeyed it? Ladies, if you're broke down in the worst part of town and had to walk after dark to find help, while you will walk a group of 4 men leave a house you are passing and begin walking just behind you. I don't know about women, but that even scares a man these days. If you're by yourself,
Right.
a lot of things go on in this world. How do you feel? As you listen to what they are saying, you notice they are talking about God and have just left a Bible study session. You turn around and you see they are all carrying Bibles. How do you feel now? The new direction our once Christian nation is now going in is just foolish and contrary to basic common sense. We don't force our beliefs on anyone, but we have allowed the world to chip away at our core of morality. Like Israel, we have denied the Lord, defied the law. We've done this in many ways, but perhaps the number one way is found in the spilled blood of aborted babies. God took away His glory from His people, Israel, when they did such things. And I believe He is in the process of removing Himself from the good old U.S. of A. We need a national revival. We need moral and spiritual awakening. I don't know what it's going to take. If 911 wasn't enough for you, what will be? What will be? The book of Judges is the record of God raising up 13 men to deliver Israel from backsliding in order to bring about a national revival. Our outline is best understood by an illustration of the family fortune. When a family becomes rich, there are 3 stages which seems always to occur. The first generation, they generate the fortune. The second generation, they speculate it. The fortune through a series of compromises and foolish decisions.
Oh, the other way, Phil.
The third generation dissipates the fortune and it is gone. This is exactly how it works with a nation. There is a generation that generates the freedom, then a generation that speculates it away. And finally, a generation that dissipates it until it is completely gone and freedom is no more. If you don't believe this, you need to study those nations that have forgotten God in history. What do we know about the generation of Israel that entered into the promised land under General Joshua? Israel was given by God victory after victory. Walls came tumbling down and kings were subdued. They won victories they never could have won apart from the power of God.
Right.
And that's just how it is with America. Go back to our first war, the Revolutionary War. Britain, they had more men, they had more money, they had better machinery. It was truly a David and Goliath scenario. But God was on our side and we won. Patrick Henry gave the speech which sparked the revolution in 1775. He said, "Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains or slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." It was game on. And we won that war. And George Washington became our first president. When he took office, he placed his hand on the Holy Bible. He finished taking the oath and kissed the Bible. His first official act was to lead entire Congress on a 2-hour worship session. I wonder what the ACLU would have said about that. In one of his inaugural addresses, he said, "No people can be found to acknowledge and to abhor the invisible hand which conducts the affairs of men. More than the people of the United States, every step by which they advance to the character of an independent nation seems to have been distinguished by some token of providential agency." In plain English, he said, "It is God who has got us this far, and we had better not forget it." Our founding fathers made it abundantly clear that this land was founded on God and on the Bible. The Bible was the first and only book to be used in public schools for years. Succeeding generations in Israel began to squander it all away. God says, "Look at all I have done for you and delivered you from slavery, fed you with manna, guided you and guarded you into the promised land. Now look at you. Why have you done this?" The Joshua generation saw firsthand the great works of God. What a sad verse. This means that the Joshua generation failed to pass on their values to their children. This has happened in America since 1960. And look where we are today. Americans today are brainwashed by humanism, situational ethics, and relativism. We do not understand our moral foundations and the spiritual principles upon which this nation was founded. We're trying to rewrite history, remove God from our land. The saddest verse in this book is the last one, Judges 21:25. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. They become a people with no absolutes, no standard to live by. It's that the nation you and I live in today, are these parallels frightening? Barna research shows that 67% of Americans say there is no such thing as absolute truth. They say that right and wrong are not clear. What is wrong for you is not necessarily wrong for me. If that doesn't scare you, consider that they did the same survey in churches like this one, and among some Sunday morning attendees, 52% said the same thing. Imagine Christians saying there's no right and no wrong. Look how Israel got to this point. It was through a series of challenges. God had told them to drive the enemy out of the land and to further not to have anything